So you have seen that we have inheritance, right? We have polymorphism, abstraction, right? And then encapsulation, right? Okay. So here, first let's start with inheritance. So what is inheritance? So with the name itself you can understand, right? Inheriting the features of parent into child. One class including the features of another class, right? Can be achieved using inheritance, right? So in our C# or in our .NET, right, we can have multi-level single inheritance, right? So what is multi-level single inheritance? We'll understand. Don't worry. And how exactly it is used, right? What is the way that it is only single level, right? We'll understand it and we'll actually compare it with other right? So here let's take a simple use case and understand. So let's say we have something called vehicle. Vehicle is a class, right? And let's say vehicle have got some functionality. So from now onwards, when we say functionality or business logic or anything like related to logic to write, right? Always keep in mind that we are talking about a method or a function, right? So let's say vehicle contains few functionalities like vehicle can start, vehicle can move, right? Vehicle can stop. For example, let's say these are the functionalities we have for our vehicle, right? Now, what we are going to do, vehicle, we are going to use vehicle in another class called car, right? So vehicle have got features like start, move, and stop. And when I use a vehicle class in my car class, so automatically all the features of vehicle, right, we are going to automatically inherit them into car, right? It can be car, or let's say if I'm going to take one more like truck, right, a parallel class to car. So I'm going to use this vehicle class into truck. So all the features of vehicle can be used in truck, right? Now this is something which is called as a inheritance. So where car is using vehicle and truck is also going to use vehicle, right? So let us create this and see how, when I say car can actually use the features of vehicle, how exactly it is being reused. Let's see that one. So let me close all documents. So let me create a new project. Called sample, right? And let me make it startup. Fine. Okay, good. So here let's create a first class called vehicle. Right click and say add a new class. called vehicle. Right? So this is my simple class I have. Now here in this class, let's say we have three different functions. Let's say public void, let's say start. Right? So here I'm gonna say console dot write line vehicle started. Right? Similarly, I have one more method called public void move. Right? So here I'll say console dot write line vehicle move. Similarly, I'm going to take public void stop. So vehicle stop. Right, perfect. So we have a class vehicle and we have created three different features in vehicle called start, stop and move. Right? So these are the methods we have. Now when we have a vehicle class, it's a plain simple standalone class, right, which we have, and this class will not affect or have got any relation with any other class as of now, right? So when you create a new class, so let me create a new class called car class. Add a class called car. Add. Right? So now what we're gonna do, this is my car class, right? And what I want to do, I want to inherit the vehicle into the car. Now how to inherit? We will be using operator called colon operator, resolution operator, and we'll say vehicle. You can see. So this is how we inherit the car. Now when we are at car class, then car is a child and vehicle is a parent. Right? Car is a child of vehicle and vehicle is a parent. But when we stand at vehicle, vehicle is standalone class. Very important. This is very important to understand. When we go to vehicle class and say what is the relation between vehicle and other classes, then there is no relation at all. It's a simple plain standalone class. But when I go to car class and say what is the relation between car and vehicle, then we can say okay, car is a child and vehicle is a parent. Similarly, when you go to truck, yes, truck is a child and vehicle is a parent, and so on. Right? So now let me go back to car. Now car inherits vehicle. Now I'm not going to create anything in car. Let's say I'm not going to touch. I'm going to keep the car class empty, and I'm going to show you how features are inherited. So let's say here I do have one variable called public int amount, for example. Right? A simple variable. Now, so this is what I have in my vehicle. So let's go to program. So in my main method, let's say I'm going to create object of first vehicle class. So let's say vehicle. Let's say objv is equal to new vehicle, and I'm gonna call all the objv dot. You can see I have start. Similarly, objv dot we have move. Also, I can print the variable called objv.amount. So this is something which is vehicle, and vehicle have got all the features, all the members as public, and I can use them here. That's a vehicle, right? So let me print console.writeLine of, let's say here I'm going to print something called vehicle, right? So similarly, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create car object now. Let's see, this is very important. So car, let's say objc is equal to, let's say cobj is equal to new some object anyway. So now we have created a car object, right? And car class doesn't have anything, right? Just car is a child of vehicle, that's it. Other than that, we haven't declared or created anything else, right? Now let's go to program.cs and see what exactly car can access. Now, it's very important to understand when we say cobj dot, you can see whatever is in vehicle can be accessed through car object. You can see I can have a start, cobj, I can have move, cobj, I can have stop, and I can print cobj dot amount, right? Now, all the operations, all the methods, all the functionalities which we have in vehicle can be inherited in car. You can see that, right? Now here car, when we standard car is a child and vehicle is a parent, and we are able to access all the features of vehicle into car. Now this is called as a inheritance, where car is inheriting all the features of vehicle. So when I run this, you can see right, I can make it big so that it will be visible for all. Now you can see here you have vehicle started, we are at vehicle first. Vehicle started, vehicle moved, vehicle stopped, and the amount. Similarly, you can see when you are printing car, you can see under car you have vehicle started, vehicle moved, vehicle stopped, and so on. Right? So this is what we have for something called inheritance of a vehicle to car. Fine. Now, so you can actually inherit this class in vehicle class in any number of classes, right? As of now, we have created only one class called car class. So let me create one more class called truck. So into this truck, let's say I'm gonna have vehicle, right? So now let's say I'm going to create stuff for truck. Right? So let's say I have a truck. So TOBJ, let's say, is equal to new truck. And then you have TOBJ dot, you can see. So I can use the vehicle class in any number of classes. I can have move, I can have TOBJ dot stop, I can have console dot writeLine of TOBJ dot amount, right? So, but this is actually referring to truck. You can see this is actually referring to truck, but still they are accessing vehicle. So, car class and truck are, there is no relation between car and truck. They are completely different classes. But when I stand at truck, yes, it is inheriting vehicle. When I stand at car, it is inheriting vehicle. When I stand at vehicle, there is a plain simple class. This is something which is called as a multi-level inheritance. Forget about single, we'll come to single later. Multi-level in the sense, vehicle can be inherited in multiple classes. That's your multi-level. Fine. Now, so this is about your truck anyway. So now let's forget about truck. Right, whatever we have actually created. Forget about truck. Oh, sorry. I'm running this program. Close it up and so whatever we can do in car class, we can do in any number of classes, truck, bike or anything. Now let's go one step ahead. So let's say what I'm going to do, I'm going to inherit my car, let's say, right, into, let's say, something called Benz. For example, I have another class called Benz which inherits car. We have to be careful here. We're actually going very slow because this concept is very important. If you can understand inheritance, you can understand any pattern in the world. Right? Now here you can see Benz is a class which is inheriting car, which means there is a relation between when I stand at Benz, yes, Benz is a child class and car is a parent class. But when I stand at car is a child and vehicle is a parent. That's it. There is no relation between Benz. Right? So now let me create a Benz class first. So right click on this and say add a new class Benz. Car. Now you can see Benz parent is car, car's parent is vehicle. Right? So now I'm not going to create anything again. Again, I'm going to create Benz class empty. Similarly, car class empty, but I have features in vehicle. Now let's go ahead and create object and try to access the object. So here I have Benz. That's a BOBJ is equal to new Benz. Right? So let's say here when you try to access, let's say BOBJ, you can see you're able to access all the features of vehicle. Now when you're in Benz, there is no direct relation between vehicle and Benz, you can see here. But indirectly, the vehicle is like a grandparent of Benz. Right? So whatever is there in car, Benz can access. Right? And whatever is there in vehicle, car and also Benz can access. That's how it is related. The chain never breaks. Right? So whatever is there in car and whatever is in vehicle, complete stuff of vehicle and car can be accessed by Benz. That's a feature here. You can see obj dot. Let's say you have a start. Right? Obj dot you have move. Obj dot you have stop. Right? And also we have print obj dot amount. Right? So now when I run it, you'll see even for Benz we are getting vehicle started, vehicle moved, vehicle stopped, and so on. Not just this level. Create, let's say I'm going to create one more level. Let's say Benz. Let's say I'm going to create under Benz C class Benz. My class, right? C class Benz, or let's say I'm going to say model C, kind of. This is my another class. Now this class is going to inherit Benz. Be careful here. We are going multi root level now. So this is my another class which is inheriting Benz here. So now let's see. I'm going to create, right click and say add a class model C. Right. So this class is child of Benz. Simple. So now what we are going to do? I'm going to create object of model C. let's say mobj is equal to new, right? And then you have mobj dot seek, mobj dot, even now you're able to access vehicles, right? You have a start, mobj, you have move, you have stop, and also you can print, right? So when you run it now, so again your model class is having access to your vehicle. That's your inheritance. That's the power of inheritance. See, model can access everything which is in Benz, car, and vehicle. Benz can access everything which car and vehicle have. Car can access everything in vehicle. That's how inheritance is. Now, for example, let's say if you have any new feature in car, let's say in my car class, let's go one step ahead now. Let's say in my car class, I have a simple method called public void, let's say mag wheels, or something, mg wheels, let's say I'm going to say. Right? So let's say I'm going to say console.writeLine of cars mg wheels, for example. Now let's go back to this. Now when I have a car, so what I can do here, I can say cobj dot, you see, I have access to mg wheels. Now again, be careful, we created a method in car, not in vehicle, right? So vehicle doesn't even know what is car, right? So if you go back to vehicle and see, which is obj v dot, you don't know what is mgv, because there is no relation between vehicle and car when you stand at vehicle. Now, so car, yes, you can see cobj, you have mg wheels. Similarly, when you go one step down to Benz, Benz can access everything in car, right? Again, so what it can be, when I go here, which is cobj dot, you can see mg wheels again. Sorry, not cobj, it's bobj, which is Benz object. Similarly, let's go to model, which is mobj dot, you have mg wheels. You can see access to everything. So when I run my program, you can see you have vehicle, anyways only 4 steps, car, 1 step increase called car mg wheels. Now Benz car mg wheels, model C. This is how the features are in it. Let's go one step ahead. For example, let's say in vehicle, I have 3 features called start, move, and stop, right? For example, while creating my car class, I wanted to just change the functionality of start. For example, vehicle class is starting using a key, but I want to change, for example, I'm saying, but I want to change everything, let's say kind of auto start as soon as I get into my car, right? Based on my voice or something I want to start, kind of. So which means I can't change this class, because this vehicle class will be used in hundreds of different classes. So for that, what I can do, I can use the same method signature here. When I say signature, got to be careful, not the body, just signature itself, which means your return type, your method name, and number of arguments, kind of. Now here I'm going to say console.writeLine of car started, for example. Now what we did, whatever method is there in my parent, right, we recreated everything in child. This is called as your method overriding. Very important, your method overriding. We are overriding method called start from vehicle to car. So during method overriding, we should always use some keyword called new. Now which conveys that, okay, this is a method in my parent class and I'm rewriting it to start. Now you can see vehicle have got start and also car have got start. Now the question is, which start will be triggered is the question. Now let us see. Let us run this and see. Simple. Now this is very important. Now here car have got one more functionality called start we just created, which is a overridden one. Fine. Now you can see here. When I am at vehicle, you can see vehicle started, vehicle moved, vehicle stopped. Now when I am at car, you can see car started. Right? See, when you create any object of this class car, and if you are trying to access start, immediately first it will check whether start is there in a immediate class or not first. That's the first step it will always do. Okay, if it is not there, then it will go to parent. That's why you can see when it is move, it will first check whether car have got move or not, or it doesn't have. Then it will go to its parent called move. Okay, perfect. That's why you have car started, vehicle moved, vehicle stopped. Now, one step below, go to Benz. Benz, you can see, again here you have car started, not vehicle started. Why? Again, when we go to Benz object, now first it will check inside Benz. Do we have start in Benz? No. So it will go to parent. Now does this parent, immediate parent have start? Yes, it does have. That's it. It will call this start and say car started. Simple as that. Similarly, in Model C also you can see car started. That is how your overriding works. If you want to override, see the complete functionality changed. When you are overriding it, right? Overriding means you are skipping the complete functionalities of your parent, right? And you are doing it by yourself. That's your overriding here. And you can override all the functions if you want. Now let's say the same method I override in Benz. So same method I'm gonna override in my Benz, right? So now this time I'm overriding, right, start method into Benz from car, right? Because Benz parent is car. So here I'll say Benz started. So now when I run it, right, I will see the same pattern. So for car is car started, but for Benz it is Benz started. Why? Because whenever we create an object of Benz, right, my start method is available in Benz, so it will trigger Benz only. And when we go to model, definitely it will hit again Benz. Why? When we go to model, first it will check in model. Do we have any start? No. Then it immediately will go to Benz because Benz is a immediate parent, and that's it. Benz have got a start method and it will trigger that start method, which is Benz started. This is your method overriding model where you can see where you can actually check that it actually changed the complete phase of calling a feature from the parent. So this complete pattern is called as your inheritance. Any questions till now, guys? I know for the first time when you're actually hearing these many relations, these many things, right, it may be a bit confusing, but I would recommend you guys to go through this video at least 2 to 3 times, right, so that you're intact with this feature. Right? Now we are not done with inheritance yet. We have one more very important concept of constructor, how constructor behaves, that we're gonna check now. So till now, any questions, guys? You may ask now. Okay, fine, sure. So if your things are fine, so let's move on. Now let's move on with one step. Now this is the last step. Anyways, the one which we have understood is important. Now we are going to talk about something called constructor. Now we know that every class, right, when we create an object of any class, right, so the first thing it will look for is constructor. And if you don't have any constructor in that class, then we have already understood the concept of constructor. If you don't have a constructor in any class, then our compiler will create a default constructor for us, and that constructor will be used to instantiate or create object of that specific class. Simple as that. Right? So same we have it here, right? So now in my vehicle, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a simple constructor. So every class will have its own constructor, right? But when we are inheriting classes and all, we want to check how constructors are affected, right? First step, I'm going to create default constructor by myself. Let's say I'm going to say vehicle, right? This is default constructor. The default constructor is nothing but a constructor without parameters. So here I'm going to say console dot write line of, so I'm going to say vehicle constructor, right? Similarly, I'm going to go to car. I'm going to create my own constructor here. Let's say public car and a car constructor. Similarly, let's go to Benz. We are just creating a default constructor. That's it. We're not doing anything else. But we are going to see a very important concept here, a Benz constructor. Go to Model C, right? If you want Model C, you can see, otherwise just close it, don't worry. Now let's see only three classes, vehicle, car and Benz. That's more than enough. We just created one more class called Model C just to make sure that everything is intact, okay? Now, so here in my program.cs, let's do one thing. Let me just create one more trigger class. I don't want this anymore, right? I'll create one more class called, right click, add a class called trigger class, where we are going to see the pattern how it works. So this one have got static void main of string array open close bracket. So they must say console dot simple. Fine. So let's keep the same stuff here which we have done in program, right? Your vehicle object. That's fine. We don't have to do that. It's fine. So first step, vehicle. We don't need any internal methods now, right? We are just playing with constructor. That's it. Nothing else. So let me just create object. Right here I have vehicle object. Immediately what I'll do, I'll create car object, COBJ, right? Because I don't want any other functionalities to be called, and let me call Benz object. Fine, perfect. So vehicle, car, and Benz. So these are my three constructions. Now, very important stuff here. Forget about this model C. Now we have Benz. Now when I create an object of Benz, we know that immediately Benz constructor will be triggered, right? But there is something which is very important which happens as soon as Benz is triggered. As soon as Benz constructor is triggered, right? it will trigger this method, but as Benz is child of car, inside this constructor, first step what will happen is it will first trigger car constructor. Now as soon as car constructor is triggered, first step what car constructor will do, because it has got parent, it will trigger vehicle constructor. Now vehicle doesn't have any parent right now, it will execute vehicle first, come back, execute car, come back, execute Benz. That's how it works. Let me show you. Let me run this. You can see. Oh, okay. Let me do one thing so that it will be clear for you guys. So let's say console.writeLine. Let's say this is vehicle. Right. This is car. This is Benz. Fine. Now let's run this. See here. When we are in vehicle class, it will just trigger vehicle constructor. When we are in a car constructor, see, vehicle constructor and then car constructor. Which means when I create an object of car, it will first trigger car constructor anyways. But as soon as it triggers car constructor, right, it will first go to its parent first. So it will trigger vehicle and then come back and execute your car. That's why you can see vehicle constructor first and then car. Similarly, when we create a Benz object, you can see vehicle, car and Benz. Similarly, if you have created a model, again vehicle, car, Benz and model. This is how constructor is triggered always. As soon as you create a default constructor, by default what internal compiler will do, will add one more thing called base. This is how it is created. Base is nothing but, see, when I mouse over on base, it says vehicle.vehicle. Why? This base class is called as your parent of a current class. In some other technologies, we also call it as a super class. Now here in .NET we normally call it as a base class. Now for car, vehicle is a base class. When you call this base, yes, we are calling that. In my Benz, what is Benz base class? Car. So by default, even if you don't put this base, right, because we are in a default constructor, our compiler will automatically append this. There is no problem with default constructors at all. Okay. Only problem comes when you are creating new constructors out of your default. We'll do that now. Now this is something which is called as a default constructor. Right? Now same stuff. When you are creating base, which means same stuff again. Vehicle, vehicle constructor, car constructor and so on. Right? So now let's go one step ahead. Let's say in my vehicle class I don't have a default constructor. Let's say I'll say int x. This is my constructor having vehicle. So what will happen? Anyways, for vehicle class there is no effect. See, let me just rebuild this project. As soon as I rebuild, right, immediately you can see, right, it will hit so many stuffs here. First, truck. Anyways, let me just remove truck concept here. We don't need this truck. First step is, as soon as I change vehicle, yes, I know that I have to change my object here. So let me just put some value to pass on that. We know that because this can be created in only one way. Constructor, you can see when I open up, I can create vehicle constructor only through some passing some number or integer. Clear? Now, that's our first error we had, which is, let me just show these errors. Right? Let me just keep it rebuild. Now you can see second step anyways. In program.cs also we'll have but in program.cs, that's fine. Let me just comment all the program. So when I share this code, you can uncomment it. Okay, don't worry. Let's see the actual stuff, not those things. Okay. Now you can see very important stuff. Car. When you go to car is generating vehicle, right? There is no issue if you have default constructors, but issue comes when you are not using default, because if you don't have a default constructor, then definitely your class which is using vehicle as a parent doesn't know what type of constructor it does have, right? How many parameters, what type of parameters, how does it know? It doesn't know unless you intentionally mention this, right? So now this is my base. Now you can see when I am creating base, you can see it says, okay, you can call your base, but you have to provide some integer. So let's say I'm going to provide. Now this is your, when I rebuild my program, now this will accept it. Yes, your car have got a default constructor and your vehicle doesn't have default constructor, but you are calling it. That's how it is. So vehicle constructor, if you want to print this value, I can print it. Let's say I'm going to print this value called X, for example. So when I run my program, you can see we are in trigger. First step, vehicle constructor 100. Why 100? Because we are passing 100 in my vehicle object. Second step, when we are creating car object, you can see vehicle constructor 900. Why? Because from car, I'm calling 900, passing 900. That's why I am. Now similarly, when I go to Benz, you can see still vehicle 900. Why? Because Benz will call base. Base is nothing but a car. But when you're calling car, again it will call vehicle. That's why vehicle 900 and then car and then Benz. So this is how it is. Right? Now similarly, if I don't have, let's say, car constructor, let's say here I'm taking int y for example. And let's say I'm gonna print y here. Now what is happening now? Again, two things. You have to pass some value from here, let's say 232323, for example, from car. But again, it hits a Benz. So Benz doesn't know what is the constructor we have in car. Now, let's say I'm gonna pass some value called, let's say 123 from Benz. Now, it changes the phase of your car again. So here, let's say for car, I'm calling y, right, which is vehicle. So what I can do, instead of hard coding, I can also pass y. You can see whatever variable I'm accepting here can be passed here, because these are initialized first, and I can use this initialized variable directly into my base. So when I run my program, see, this is interesting. So first time vehicle 100, perfect, done. When it comes to car object, right? So to car object, what I'm passing from here, I'm passing 2 so and so. So what it will do, see, vehicle constructor 232323, car constructor 2323. Similarly, when I go to Benz, from Benz I'm passing 123. That's why you can see vehicle constructor 123, car constructor 123, and vehicle constructor. Now this is how the constructors behave, right? And we already know that I can have multiple constructors. I can also have something called public vehicle directory, which means I can also, maintain my default constructor. I'm not saying. So when I maintain my default constructor, yes, definitely you can see when I'm calling base, you can see I can call base in two ways: one default and second with argument, right? So I can create this. Now what is the pattern of this? When I create a same method multiple times with different signature, that is called as your method, if you remember, overloading, right? Same method being created multiple times with the same method name, but signature is different. It can be for constructor or for a normal, which you have already seen, right? So this is the concept of your method overloading. Now this is what is called as your inheritance. Any questions till now, guys? This class is very important. Please go through this video again, right? If you can understand this, right, this is a very important concept we have. right? And it's a very simple one if you can actually understand. But maybe for the first time it may be confusing if you already don't know. Oops. Right? Please go through this before you join next class, tomorrow's class, for other patterns. So now, so we now we know method overriding and method overloading. So now you can see here when I have a car vehicle, right? I inherited vehicle into car. That's it. It freezes. You can inherit only one class into another class. That's it. Similarly, car, when if you want to inherit, you can inherit. Let's say in my Benz, I want to inherit one class, and I decided to inherit car. That's it. Freeze. You can't inherit multiple classes into one class. That's why we normally say call single inheritance. So this is how we normally call. Let's say I have a class A, right? Class B, class C. Let's say. So let's say class A is inherited in B, class B is inherited in C. But let's say class A is also inherited in, let's say, class D, right? And let's say A is also inherited in class, for example, E, right? Now you can see when I say inherited, D can inherit A, that's it. D cannot again inherit B. That's your single inheritance. But you can see A can be inherited in D, B, and E, which means one class is inherited in three different classes. That's your multi. That is something which is called as a multi-level single inheritance, which we have in .NET. Here, that's your multi-level single inheritance. So this is the complete concept of inheritance. Now, I hope you understood what is method overriding and method overloading. This method overriding and method overloading is nothing but a polymorphism. That's it. Polymorphism. Single entity being used multiple times, right? Multiple forms of a single form, right? So here with the single method name, I can create right with the same method name, I can create multiple methods. That is something which is called as a polymorphism. So under polymorphism we have two concepts: method overriding and method overloading. Now this is called as a polymorphism. Okay. So in inheritance itself we normally understand so many concepts which even covered your polymorphism kind of. Right. So this is about your inheritance and polymorphism concepts, guys. Any questions? I'll take a minute to accept questions. Okay then guys, so I hope if you're clear, I'm happy with that. So please go through this inheritance and polymorphism again, and I hope you guys have started um, assignment. So tomorrow I'm gonna check your assignment guys. So till whatever step you guys have done, so we'll check assignment tomorrow. Fine, and we'll see how many of you guys have actually done till what task. Okay. Fine then guys, and I'm gonna share the status regularly with the consultancy on till what assignments each of you guys have done, right? And let's keep it intact. Fine. Okay then, thanks a lot for joining guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.